sole sourcing even is acceptable if in situations where there is the need to extend the implementation of works which were previously competitively procured to speed up completion.
Conditions under which you can sole source. And one of them is an emergency. But that is where anybody who would then say that any road construction is an emergency would be, I would find that very, very, very strange.
The reason why President actually even came out with the Big Push initiative, if you realize our road network in the country, right, is very poor. Very poor. There's no part of this country that you would go and issues about roads are not being raised. It means that it then became an emergency something to us as a nation for us to tackle. How do you then tackle that?
Ghana ya kwan bebre na nye na tete na pansam na pro na yesi kontebe. Eni tino eye John Dramani Mahama ene na ban ejobodo akatamaso amadwuko baaye ene omoso omodi ade bi baaye friend say Big Push ni nyina ne say ye di ba besiesie Ghana ya kwan atete apansam ne etimi aye ni ye na amakwani aba hudie ensam etimi aye akono nene road minister wakokasa ewo ye omanima hyebedwefie na no akoyi ni kan asem akoka de abusua echekure ese ni nchechire mu no ankasa no ene wanchire mu yie anase Ghana foa ana ya nte ase yie ene edonkum a omanima hyebedwefie atotu bi papa ede amane no se da bi onte ase da waba ede mu chechire mu aba fa comment no fa bra ye comment section wo kai se obe subscribe to your channel no ede amaye na obe share so amanua bi nso nsa etimi akabie na eye road minister aba abonten na nsam a wo ka nyina ne say Big Push jumedie na eye John Dramani Mahama ede ebaye no ye wade bi e friend say eye
road. Mr. Speaker, globally it is globally acceptable that sole sourcing even is acceptable if in situations where there is the need to extend the implementation of works which were previously competitively procured to speed up completion. Though the 23 projects I talked about that we innovated, none of them were competitively procured. They were also source contracts, but which were innovated at the cost of 14.8 billion Ghana cedi. Mr. Speaker, given the scale, urgency, and national importance of these projects, a mix of procurement methods were employed in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that only 44% of all the major contracts included in the Big Push contract were awarded by the ministry under sole sourcing. 44%. So not what has been published by a certain online portal. We have also awarded over 400 different contracts through open competitive bidding, over 400, which is unprecedented because the record shows that from 2017 to 2024, almost all projects that the ministry carried out were sole sourced. Almost all the projects were sole sourced. It will therefore be mischievous for any right-thinking member of society to conclude that the Ministry of Road and Highways only procures work through sole sourcing. Mr. Speaker, I have already mentioned the deplorable state of the road network across the country we inherited from our colleagues. This had brought untold hardship to the motoring public and contributed massively to the food inflation. This led to public agitation and the survival of the state. Mr. Speaker, something needed to be done and done urgently. Mr. Speaker, with dedicated funding already secured under the Big Push program, was both prudent and necessary to proceed swiftly to ensure value for money and avoid cost overruns associated with long procurement and implementation timelines. Mr. Speaker, most of the project would not have started until date if we hadn't adopted a faster route. Mr. Speaker, the following projects, for example, wouldn't have been continued or started. The Kaswa-Winneba and then Kaswa interchange road, which is in my good friend, the minority leaders constituency. The dualization of Winnipeg Cape Coast, the Swami Interchange project, which was stalled but now has gotten a new life, the Kumasi Outer Ring Road, and the Ofanko Nsawam Road are part of this. Mr. Speaker, we put in place the following mechanisms to ensure value for money.
So sourcing. Na so sourcing yi no. Ni nyina mu nchiremu ene se. Aban bi ba na se ne wo de adwuma de ma ye contractors a. Ebinum wo ho no ma ye hwe wanim. Yes ye contractor A, contractor B, hey kwan we de obetimi aye. Ni atabiri ni e de amawo. Ye nhwehwe won krata mu se aso. Wo wo eye akade no. Wo wo mfidie no. Wo eye enema na ebetumi aye kwan no na eye no kra no obetumi aye ni yi ana ye enko hwehwe ye won krata mu se won kasa no wudi mu ansa na de adwuma na mawo we ni de ye hwe wani mu a na ye de amawo se wo aso mesije obentenje ne kwan we de obetumi aye eno ni so sen no na eno ho asem na akokopie mu ye o man mrahye begefie parliament enam so ama eye road minister enso so no ababonten ba be chirechire mu so sen no esan se wo se wanka se wutiri ho a ka me se won hwa ye be yi oyibone meka se enso ebia pesa kora enso no ni akwa akotwa opokin jo pa wona mo no ma no wani matwa se efia na wona mo no eni to wono anka sa governance Abuja ono anka sa ababonten se so sen no wo ba be chirechire mu ama ye Ghana fo nyina ato mo ho ase na ensem a eye domkum e o ma hye bedwafie tumfutro pa de Ghana fo ani no omo nyina hu se so sen no say na echie na road minister say so sen ni nyina no enchirechiremu no ene say obi wo ho no mo a contract no ka ne say ebi ekwan no ye hwe wani mu a ene say kwan ready obetimi aye eni tini e de amawo o se de na so nti omo ye sa so sen ni nyina ene say omo bet na ya ba enya so no omo hu say Ghana kwan bebre na enye eni ti so nka omo ankeka omo ho anya ne ntem na ene omo ye omo adwen say asomasi wona wo se fata fankrata abra ni ehwehwe onkrata mu a o se ebe fa mmere Ghana kwan so sei ye so de ye bo aban no so bo se ya kwan nye eni ti na ese nka omo fa sa metede e friend say ye so sin so ene na omo afre asomasi bra wono we ehia se ehwehwe onkrata mu ye hwe wanim ye hwe wa ho ode a e kwan no betimi aye wo se e kwan bi ti se ye kumase kwan a interchange ye nyina no dodo na so sin na bi ene ye de ama amanfo eni ti no mu di America wo mo eye okọ enkran so a ekwan bebre na ye na no ose dodo na so sin ye nkwonkwohwehwe amanfo nkrata mu ne hu se ye de kwa ha ye de wura ha no se empanyifo ntena se ye nkopa ye abadwoko konomti na esai mbre wo se da bi saa ne ma ni nyina na empanyifo hu yo mo se enya de bi ebeboa ene nti ye mfa ade friend se so sin na emra na nka wei enka ya de papa enka eya de papa wo se ukọ eye minority leader eye afenyo market ni mpesu ya so a ekwan dodo na ye ni nyina no eye so sin na bia ene ye de ama amanfo omutimi ya ene Ghana kwan dodo na no big push etimi ya push a yetimi aye Ghana kwan bebre ene ti road minister say so sin no emu chirechiremu anie ni chirechiremu no anie na akwan dodo na no emu be ye 44% de ye de ma eye so sin ye de ma contractor fo a omo ne ye hwe wo mu animu a ene ehu se ekwan no betimi aye ene ye de hwe wo nsa ene omo etimi eye na no obi si da bi ono de aha wonti ase da asem a eye honorable minister eye governance Abuja ka ne de enya de a obetimi age atumu ne na obeje ade atumu echina owura eye Mike Okusi dede ono no eye engineer osanso no eye analysis ba se ene ya akwan ho nsem de wonchirechire mu de papa na adwuma aboma se ebew ene o se asem a road minister ka no ne nya adwen o na ekwan a wobi enkwada esanim wotina ka mu a eye wo nkwa ena wo de atu esan mu no ka ba be fa akwantempo so ye nkwa na ye de ba be di agro no eni nti no ekwan a obi e ba be fa so bie ekuafo ba be fa so bi Ghana fo nyina e ba be fa so bi na wo ba be ka kire se eye so se na mo de ya kwan ye de a mo ba kire ye sei na ese mo ankasa Ghana fo mo nwene ye ho mo sori ana mo bo MPP fo so bo so omo na sha asie so as omo sha asie no oh NDC na pani ba behwe mo horo omo sa ade bi se na omo cheche contract no e de mo omo ankasa ho family and friends na mo so mo ba ye de na ka so as mo betwam o na se mo kra de mo ba behwe mo kena.
So road construction, unless a bridge has been damaged and therefore access to certain parts of the country, I mean, there can be no, I don't see how a road contract can be declared an emergency, because clearly every part of this country is virtually accessible. So it is only when a bridge gets broken down and therefore access is denied that we can declare that as an emergency, which for me will then qualify for sole sourcing. But other than that, I don't see how any other road construction would qualify for an emergency, sole sourcing under the emergency. Even if you look at the act, if you go to section 40, it clearly defines the conditions under which you can sole source. And one of them is an emergency. But that is where anybody who would then say that any road construction is an emergency would be, I would find that very, very, very strange. So that is my premise. Now, the other thing here is that it says 44, so another 66% has not been sole sourced. Now, where were the advertisements placed? You see, because it is important that these things are done properly so that everybody can then reference it. So in the minister's explanation, he should have possibly pointed us to all the places where advertisements were placed for the contract. And again, if you look at the sole sourcing, it says that if you go under a certain section, it says that you need to actually list them. The contracts that you are going to sole source, publicize it that you are going to sole source this ones. Was that also done? So these are the issues of transparency that are important for us to be able to judge whether the government is being transparent, sincere with us.
What he said yesterday is that all projects that were awarded under the Big Push agenda have been published on the ministry's websites.
Yes, but you see, when you read the law, it says that even before you award the contract, you must list that you are going to sole source this ones. You understand? So it's not just that after you have awarded, then you publicize. No, you must list that these ones are going to be sole sourced. So clearly, I haven't seen that. If it's been done, they should show it to us that this has been done.
And it will right. I Michael Kusi they say only the enka sole source in kuhu ye. I dear friend say ye emergency dear. And kebiti say ye gatis. No, any affairs ye a bridge. And then can ye say ya and so oh and no dear see and 2 million kwa ye emergency ye print ya no ye de maso source for na contractors ni bikura na ebetimi aboa na yan kasa ye kwan na ye ba befa so ye de ato honom ama nchirima timi abefa so bie no ye se ye ne so source dia na ye se entwa yie aha anyway the road minister some na wo kan ba de say ya kwan nyina no big pushi enyina mu de yeso so sendia e na kwan no kra na say nche ni nyina betimi asa ese yo ni nyina be say enso no mo ba no mo hye ye bo say ya kwan mo be ma ye tick ene ye mu be ye pi eni ti ko cha na edugu so mo sa ade bi se etwum ne na mo se yo ekwo kama na say ne so so sendia emergency dia na say ekwan na mo ye na nkasa no achewache kakra etimi ewo ho eno no eya asema eye owura ye Michael Kusi dede e ka se wono no wone eye road minister owura ye Governors Agboja entumi enye adwenem na eno na ye deputy minister edema eye communication enso so no ababontin owura eye Mohammed Adam Sukparu den se mo ka nyina no say big push na ese Ghana mampani John Dramani Mahama ene ni mpanyifo eka muti pam ho se Ghana ya kwan dodo na asai eni je so mudi big push ba no o se adwumadie we na e ba beboa papa esan so mu hu se Ghana kwan dodo na enye enu bi eni nyina ye kwan na edi ho adanse e kwan dodo na atutru se ya.
Of course, like I indicated earlier that I am not against the fact that people are actually pushing for accountability and to ensure that we do not engage in corrupt related activities as it were in the past. And so for me, I am saying that there's no cause for alarm. These contractors that are given the job, the engineers did the right quotations, they've done, you know, all the, you know, the feasibility study and whatever that is needed to be done before awarding a contract. All these things are carried out. And, you know, the reason why President actually even came out with the Big Push initiative, if you realize our road network in the country, right, is very poor. Very poor. There's no part of this country that you would go and issues about roads are not being raised. It means that it then became an emergency something to us as a nation for us to tackle. How do you then tackle that? If you want to address the challenge, something that has been identified as an emergency situation to a nation.
Identified by who?
By the people of this country. We all thought this guy, he is a politician. And during the elections that he was going around campaigning, there was no any village, there was no any town that he went that issues about their roads were not raised.
Granted.
And so, yes, so when I talk about the emergency nature of it, it is not, it shouldn't be, when we talk about emergency nature, it shouldn't be when a bridge is being cut off. That alone is an emergency. For instance, if you ever use Tachima, Wunchi, Bolewa Road, a road that you used to use about 4 hours from Tachima or 5 hours from Tachima to Wa, I can tell you now, you would have to spend more than 10 hours from Tachima to Wa. And if you are telling me that it is not an emergency, it is what? Because when you spend several hours on a road that you would have used, like, let's say, 4 hours, and now you are spending about 10 hours, mentally, you are being drained. People are getting sick anytime they travel on that road. So if something that is bringing you
are importing your emergencies into the law.
That's not what it's I'm telling you that.
So
But what I'm trying to say is this. The nature of our roads in this country actually became an issue of an emergency and must be tackled. At the time that President was making the promises, he saw it as an emergency something that has to be tackled as such.
And it will right Sukparu say, Senen komu anka wo mo ho. Ama Ghana kwan Big Pushi, kadodo na komu amfanye so sena. Kenya dia ekebetimi aboa. Ene ke ebetena ho san kenya se ehu yi se tesi ya na kwan dodo na ya sha ase ayeye, interchange dodo na ya sha ase ayeye, ya kwan bebre na ese no emfichira kwan nyina no ya sha ase eyiyi. Wo se ne nyina ne ye so sen ya. Eye mpanyifo kan omuti pam ho omode ema contract. Ya hwe se ene odasani wo na wo se fata fa onkrata abra. Na ene akọ process mu tententia enko se ne nka Big Pushi. Omode so muso nka fi be ko na wie na nka Big Push ne de adwumade na kwan bebre na komatimi aye no kanya de nka ombetimi aye komo kase nka mo fa the actual process ni mu ankasa na kanya de a ka Big Push ne bianka ya kwan kranke aye ba akopɛ eni nti no owura Sukparu say so sin na ye ka na se bi no ntiase a minority no dom kuma na omai mrahye bedwafie etu mfuturo di gu amanfo ani chiachia ni nyina no wo say eye ni yie mu ntia Ghana ya kwan ne se beye yie na ebeye ntem so ntia wo se Ghana ya kwan bebre na emergency o hwe wo se senka omo antu America anye ne so sin amfa ma contractor fo se he ya nhwehwe animu amfa ma se so mesi wetimi aye ntitu America na ka ho ne kokoye bra ne amfa time anto so a kanya ne senka ya kwan bebre na ya yeye wo se akwan bi wo no ma na nye na acheche apansam eni nti na omo hye ase eye ne so sin na nye se pen wo mo pe e na omo sha ase e de mema ya contractor for omo anhwehwe tebi omo nkrache mu we ye nsama owura Sukparu ono no ye deputy minister de ma communication digital technology ene ne nsama ono so no aka e de afa so sin ho no na busi aka me ese so sin yi enkomo yi de eye edonkuma no ene ni nua ye dom kase no eso omo mienu nyina no omo akomo adwan bom na obi atutu bia e de ema ne ho nanso no ese nchiremu a road minister governs Kwame Abuja de ababonten sanso na deputy communication minister Adams Mohammed Sukparu nso so no aba be chirechiremu de enti aso sen no mpanyifo ahya ase a omo omo de akwan no dodo na de ahyehye contractors bi no nsa omo an go through be say long process anhwehwe omo nkrate mu ansa na omo de ama wo mo no na omo say ene de yade bi a ebeboa won so ye Ghana timbamuni yi no so sin yi no yade bi a ebeboa ama ya kwan no yetimi aye ni yie ana se yɛnkɔfa tete atempɔn no so yɛnyae sɛ yɛhwɛ w'anim a na yɛde contract na ɛde ama wo na emom ne yɛnhwehwɛ wɔ mo nkrataa mu ehu sɛ ɔmo sɛ fata sɛ akwan Ghana akwan dodo na yɛtimi ɛde hyɛ wɔ mo nsa na owura yɛ governance agogya nso sɛ yɛanyɛ so sen no so a ɛnya de bɛbɛboa ma ɛyɛ big push no agenda na esi wɔ mo ne sɛ nka afiwe nkɔ na wie de na nka Ghana yɛ akwan dodo na nkɔmɔtimi ayɛ no without a yes so sen nya de ombetimi aye woni ne ya adwena fa comment no fa bra comment section wo kai se obe subscribe to your channel no e de amaye na obe share so ama enua bi nso etimi akabie medin ene maame akua makra